Welcome to Homework Lib.
For problem number 9, we are trying to find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of segment MN using the points where M is -5, 4 and N is 1, -2. So we only have a few steps in order to write this equation in point slope form, but I think for right now it's good to get a visual image of the segment. So I'm going to draw out my segment. So here we have our segment MN, and we are looking for the line that perpendicularly bisects, which means 1, it has to hit it at a right angle, like this, and 2, it has to bisect it, which means it makes it into 2 equal segments. So the first thing we need to do in order to find this equation is we need to find the middle point that bisects the segment. So that would be the midpoint. So we're going to use the midpoint formula. So here we have the midpoint formula, so we're just going to plug in our x and y values. We start, x1 is always the first point they give us. So m, -5 is going to be x1, and 1 is going to be x2. Remember, the x value is the first number in the coordinate point. And then y1 has to match up with x1, so that would be 4, and y2 would match up with x2, which is -2. And both of those are added and divided by 2. So when we do the math here, -5 plus 1 is -4, and 4 plus -2 is 2. -4 divided by 2 is -2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So simplifying this midpoint formula, we get our midpoint of -2, 1. So we'll call that point P for midpoint, and I graphed it on our graph. So now our segment is split into 2 halves. Now we need to find the slope of the original segment. We need to find the slope because a perpendicular line has opposite reciprocal slopes. So we are going to find the opposite reciprocal slope, but before we can do that, we have to find the original slope. So using our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, we're going to plug in again what we already have. So y2 is -2 minus y1 is 4 over x2 is 1 and y1 is -5. So we're going to put that in parentheses to make sure we know it's a minus and a -5. So when we simplify the top, -2 minus 4, we get -6. And when we simplify the bottom, 2 negatives make a positive, so 1 plus 5 is 6. Simplifying, -6 over 6 equals -1. So our slope is -1, or -1 over 1. So opposite reciprocal means 1, flip it upside down, and change the sign. So this is a negative slope, so we're going to have a positive slope, and switching the 1s, we just get 1 over 1. So our opposite reciprocal slope is +1. So since they want our equation in point slope form, we need a point and the slope. We need a point on the line and the slope of the line. Well, we have the slope and we have a point. So we're now able to write it in point slope form. So here we have point slope formula. Now this y1 and x1 are now different than our original one that we used to find our midpoint and our slope. These x1, y1 is a point on our line, which we now know is our midpoint, which is the point -2, 1. So we will do y minus, the y value is 1, equals, m is our slope, which we know is 1, times x minus x1 is -2. And we put that in parentheses. So the last thing we need to do is just simplify our point slope form. So the only thing we need to simplify is, first, we don't need to write a 1 because it's understood. We can keep the parentheses if we want to. We don't have to. But it's x, and then two negatives make a positive, so it's x plus 2. So here you have point slope form of the perpendicular bisector of the original segment MN.